Hi everyone, my name's Natalie, and for those of you that are new here, I'm a brand designer, web designer and illustrator, and today I'm going to give you a home desk setup tour. So I did a home desk makeover vlog about 2 months ago now, and I've made quite a few enhancements, I will say, to the desk since that video. Basically, to go back, for those of you that haven't watched the video, I left the corporate world and my 9 to 5 about 6 months ago, and I realised at that time my desk was pretty pitiful. It was dire, to be precise. I'll put a picture up on the screen so you can see what it looked like, so you can see I'm not exaggerating. It was very pitiful. Now I'm spending a lot more time in my home office. I'm shooting content in the office as well. I wanted my desk to feel a little bit more inviting, a little bit more cozy, and I've added some extra things since, or quite a few different things since that makeover video. And I think it's really important to have a desk that is comfortable, especially if you're spending a lot of time within one particular space, which I am doing. I'm spending a lot of time. You can see I'm shooting a lot of content here. I work in tech, so I'm at the screen a lot, so I need to be in the office. Let's get into it. Let's just start this desk tour and then you can see what I have on my desk. Right, so the first thing I'm going to get into is the furniture within my home desk setup tour. And I love this standing desk because it's better than the previous one that I had when I was working in the corporate world from home. It was a lot smaller than this desk, and I find I've got a lot of things. Sometimes I'm looking for design inspirations and I've got really big books, and I just needed that extra space so I don't feel too cramped, because I've got a lot of things, so I needed that space on that desk. So this standing desk is a little bit bigger than what I had before. And I also have an ergonomic chair. So I think it's important to have a good chair. I've sat in offices where they've had bad, cheap chairs, and by the end of the day, your lower back's hurting, your neck's hurting, your shoulders hurting, everything's hurting. So I've got a good quality ergonomic chair that is fitted to my body shape and my body sizes. On my ergonomic chair, I have a nice little throw / blanket, and I literally just got that from Tesco because the chair's black and it doesn't necessarily, especially when I'm creating content, it doesn't necessarily tie in with the rest of the desk. And plus, if in the winter and it's a little bit chillier, so I'll just throw it over my legs to keep me that little bit extra warm as well. So that's what's on top of my ergonomic chair. So let's talk about what's on my desk. So I use a MacBook Pro, and as a designer, I like to use Macs over PCs. It's just a lot faster. We use large files, so we need a program that can manage the large, heavy files that we could potentially be saving on our computer. And I also like the good quality color resolution on the screen. So when I'm designing something, I like the colors to look good. So I like to use a MacBook Pro, and I've been using Macs for years, and I can't design on a PC. It's too slow, the Windows updates. Yeah, so I use a MacBook Pro when I'm doing my design work. For my monitor, I have a Lenovo monitor, and it's not very good. I think the picture quality is just okay. The resolution is just okay. It can feel a little bit grainy at times, which I'm sure is probably not very good for my eyes. And as you can see, I wear glasses. So in the future, I do want to upgrade my monitor, but I'm not sure what to get. I've seen some people have the curved monitors. That looks really cool. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure of all the benefits of a curved monitor, because they can be quite pricey, so I'm not sure if they're 100% worth it. But as I said, I do want to upgrade and get a better monitor, even if it just means that it's just better for my eyes. So I'm not sure what monitor to get. If you guys have any recommendations, let me know in the comment section below of what monitor you think will be good for somebody that's a web designer and that's looking for a monitor. So I use an ergonomic mouse. I've used them for years. I just think they're much better for your wrist. I remember at my previous workplace, I had a desk assessment, and the person that came out recommended an ergonomic mouse. I had never used them. I hadn't even seen an ergonomic mouse before, but ever since then, I haven't looked back. I've always, whenever I get new ones, I always buy an ergonomic mouse. It's just better for your hand. It prevents RSI in your wrists as well. And when you first use them, it feels pretty weird, but I very much got used to it very quickly. So I use an ergonomic mouse. And then I've got a simple white keyboard. In my previous makeover video, you see that I had like an electronic gaming keyboard that would light up. When I tested it, it didn't work. And then I thought tapping on the keys, it was quite loud. It's just not for me. I know for ASMR, it can sound cool, but it just wasn't for me. So I've changed, and I just got a white keyboard to match my white mouse and my white wrist rest, which is a cloud wrist rest. Wrist rest? God, that's wrist rest? That's a tongue twister. It's a cloud wrist rest, So it just all ties in with each other, and then on top, and that sits within a leather mouse mat or leather mat that acts as a mouse mat as well. I can use my mouse quite smoothly on that. So that looks pretty nice on my desk. Those are the things that I use with my hands on my desk. And I also had a look at my previous desk makeover video, and I have a lot of wires. Most people probably have a lot of wires in their home office. If you have a home office, there were just black wires everywhere and it just didn't look very good. I've got some white covers to cover the wires, so it just kind of blends in with the wall because the walls are white. But yeah, they're pretty good. They're flexible, they bend around, you can cut them down to size as well. And then on my desk, I also have my headphones. I've got an old school Beats rose gold headphones. The inside is kind of falling apart a little bit, so I either need to get a new one, or maybe, you know, like creating and making things, I might just improve that. Maybe there's some material I can buy, take off what's on there now and redo over that. That headphone sits on a wooden stand, so whenever I need to listen to music or whatever else, I put my headphones on and get into the zone. So that's on my desk also. I also have my Roberts radio. I love this. I'm very old school. I like retro things, retro cars, retro radios. I like this radio. It ties in nicely with the desk. And sometimes I do watch a lot of content on YouTube. Sometimes I even watch Netflix if I'm not doing anything that I really need to overly focus on. But sometimes I just want to listen to the radio. So I listen to my Roberts radio, and then on that same, it's actually a plant stand that it sits on. I also have my pens there as well because I do a lot of writing, so I need easy access to some pens. So I've got that on the same stand. I like a good cup of tea, so of course I had to also mention my Fila ceramic mug. Right, next let's look at the lighting. I have added some really nice cozy lighting to my desk setup. I personally think lighting is an important part of your desk. It can add a nice atmosphere, especially in the winter and it gets a little bit late and a little bit darker. It can add that kind of warmth to your room. I've added Gove lights, Govee, I can never pronounce names properly. I think it's Gove lights to the back of my monitor. I can control those through my phone. And I've also added a round lamp from IKEA. I've put some Gove light bulbs with inside that lamp so I can control that lamp and the different colours from my phone. And in terms of lighting, I've also added a cute little moon lamp on my shelf and a little astronaut lamp because I work in STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths, and I just love all things astronauts as well. So I've added a cute little astronaut to the shelf and the moon lamp. So that's all the lighting in my desk setup. So now let's take a look at what's on my shelves. So I've added some art to my shelves. One I created myself, one I purchased, but I can't remember where I purchased the other one from. But I like the lady, and I think the colours tied in with what I was trying to go with this room, kind of naturals and the woods and the creams and the beige. So I added that to the lower shelf, and on the top shelf I found an ampersand. I think it's Playfair font, I can't remember. And I just created that myself and printed that at home. So I've got two pieces of art on my shelves, and just kept it kind of simple. I didn't want anything that stood out too much or kind of took over the desk. I wanted something that was nice. It was there, but it still kind of blended in as well. And then, as I mentioned in the previous clip about lighting, I've got the moon lamp and I've got the astronaut lamp. And as I'm an illustrator, I've also got an artist wooden mannequin on my shelf, and I do actually use that when I'm creating some illustrations of people. For example, as I've mentioned before, I have a children's brand with my husband called Little Scholars Playground, and I illustrate all of the children's books and the children's products. So when I'm creating different poses and different positions, I move that mannequin around. It helps when I'm creating those illustrations. So let's move on to the greenery I have in the room. I have got rid of those fake IKEA plants and I've upgraded them to real IKEA plants. If you did watch my desk makeover video, you know I was kind of toying between having real or fake plants, and I did go with a fake plant from IKEA in the end. And I did mention my hubby doesn't really like fake plants, and he does work from this office at times as well. So I've got two plants from IKEA, and yeah, they seem to be doing well. There is good lighting in this office, so they're surviving. I think I've mentioned on a previous video, I don't have green fingers. If I buy plants, they often die. But these ones are thriving. I've had them a little while now and they're plodding along. I love how the green plant above me just hangs over the shelf. It's getting lower and lower, so I might have to clip it. but I just like the little addition of real greenery that it adds to this room. It's like bringing nature inside, because you know I talk about nature a lot and getting outside into nature, so I felt like I need to bring some inside. Just wanted to give a quick mention to my design books that I have behind me. So I've mentioned in previous videos that I like to go out and get design inspiration out in the real world and not necessarily just be scrolling on Instagram or Pinterest. And I'm not saying finding design inspiration is wrong or bad, but it's good to get out. So as I mentioned, when I'm creating designs, I like to also look through some books. For example, if I want logo inspiration or just designing anything, I can just swivel my chair around and get design inspiration literally behind me, flicking through some books instead of scrolling on a screen. So I've got some design books behind me and I do kind of alternate those out. I try not to have too many where it's overwhelming, and I do change those books from time to time and put some back on a shelf and bring some new ones out as well. And on top of those books, I keep my IKEA watering can when I need easy access to water those plants and try and keep those alive. I just wanted to mention any future upgrades that I may have planned for my desk. I think the main thing for now is my monitor. I do want to look at getting a better monitor. So as I've mentioned, if you've got any recommendations, please do let me know in the comment section below. But for now, that's the only thing I can think of. I'm not sure if I need anything else, but knowing me, the next video I'll probably have quite a few new things, because I wouldn't have thought from my previous makeover video that I would have made this amount of upgrades to the desk, so we'll see. I do have a few tips for you if you are planning on taking over your work desk or your office space. I would say don't rush, because I feel like if you rush, you end up buying a load of things that you might not necessarily need or are more expensive than, you know, if you shop around. So just take your time. Maybe I know I mentioned don't sit scrolling on Pinterest all day trying to find design inspiration in the real world, but I'm not saying don't find any inspiration online. But anyway, you can look at Pinterest to get some inspiration, and just, I'm not saying plan and have like an Excel spreadsheet, but maybe just have a think about what you really want on your desk and how you want it to look, and that way you're buying the things that you really need rather than just having those impulse buys. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoy my desk tour, and let's see what future updates I make to the desk. But for now, this is it and this is how it looks like. Let me know what you think of my desk in the comment section below. And the links to my desk setup is in the description.